Next, we look at a similar situation under the benchmark approach, where we consider hedging of variable annuities with guarantees, as depicted in the last chapter under benchmark approach, and we compare that with a risk-neutral approach. So we consider under the risk-neutral approach, the Black-Scholes model, and under the benchmark approach, it is a minimum market model. And we again use the S&P 500 30 years of return over the last most recent 30 years, and we consider four situations. Both policyholders and the insurance company take the view of a risk-neutral model, Black-Scholes model. The policyholder has a Black-Scholes model view, and the insurance company assumes a minimum market model. And policyholder assumes a minimum market model, and insurance company assumes a Black-Scholes model, and both parties assumes minimum market model. So four situations. Here's the first situation where both parties assume the Black-Scholes model. As you can see, we have two curves here. The first is the contract value function in blue, and the reserve account function in red. The reserve account is the account maintained by the insurance company to pay for any cash flows required by the policy. So it's the real hedging portfolio maintained. So the hedging portfolio completely matches with the policy value, which means the policyholder is completely hedged, or the insurance company is completely hedged. And the optimal withdrawals reveal this pattern. Some less withdrawal in the earlier stage, followed by uniform withdrawals, and followed by a large withdrawal in the end. And the guarantee account decreases following these withdrawal patterns. The next situation we consider is that the insurance company holds a Black-Scholes model view, and the policyholder applies a minimum market model and the benchmark approach to decide on the withdrawal patterns. As you can see, following this scenario, the contract value of the contract value of the policyholder's contract follow these patterns, and eventually after the last withdrawal becomes zero, whereas the reserve account value after the last withdrawal drops down to negative, which means the insurance company actually made a loss under this situation. Here is the value function. Here is the value function of the policyholder's value is computed under the Black-Scholes model, because this is all seen by the insurance company. So the insurance company actually maintains a higher reserve account balance than the current policy value, and still made a loss. The withdrawal pattern here can be seen to be that no withdrawal for a long time, made some withdrawals when the horizon is approaching, and the final large withdrawal on the last date, which led to the deficiency in the reserve account held by the insurance company who maintained a Black-Scholes model view. The next situation is that the insurance company assumes a minimum market model approach, and the policyholder made withdrawals following a Black-Scholes view. And the situation is such that after the final withdrawal, the policyholder's value becomes zero, but in the meantime, the reserve account balance is positive after the last withdrawal, because the insurance company maintained the more correct model to manage its hedging portfolio for this policy. And finally, if both policyholder and the insurance company maintain the view of minimum market model, they will agree with each other in terms of contract values, which equal to the reserve account value, and the reserve account terminal value becomes zero, essentially zero, after the contract expired. So in summary, the VA provider insurance company can successfully hedge the VA with guarantee if both parties hold the same view. And if the policyholder takes a static withdrawal strategy, which is suboptimal, or it relies on the Black-Scholes model to make withdrawals, whereas the VA provider relies on the minimum market model, the VA provider will win in this case, leaving a surplus in its account, a reserve account, after the contract has expired. On the other hand, if the policyholder is smarter by taking the minimum market model, while the VA provider will hedge based on Black-Scholes model, the VA provider will end up at a loss.